8th or 9th.
Okay.
Everybody got?
Okay, let's go to Lawrence here and we'll go back. Figure this out, Sarah. Okay, this was right, it was a roundhouse meeting. And the only reason that it became a selectmen meeting was they had a pending RLF loan. And in order to disperse the RLF funds, they had to open a formal meeting. And it was Joanne, Jim, and Mike here. I was not here, you were. So,
So, do we have a
I'm
motion?
assuming that you were
I was aware of the meeting with
Roundhouse,
Paul.
right. And that was the only business discussed was the meeting with Ron House and the signing of the check so that it could be dispersed with a revolving loan. Okay?
So do we have a motion on the table to approve the minutes of the second? We do these separately, correct?
Okay.
Betty, we don't lump all the minutes together.
You've
We-
done both.
Oh, we
You
have.
can do it either
Okay.
way. but
Well,
if you want to do it
I'm okay with
separately-
making it for both. Yeah, me too. If we make it the correct date. Yes.
January 8th.
January 8th.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so back to it. May I have a motion for the minutes of January 2nd, 2014?
January 2nd and 8th, 2014.
Okay, you're going to do both together. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Let's finish up our warrants. Done? You have those back? Okay. Old business.
Whole business. The National Resource Protection Act permit, or the NERPA permit, the application has been received and accepted as complete by the DEP. This was a major hurdle that we completed for the project at the marina, for the seasonal floating dock system. And that was one that we put a lot of effort into, and I was quite relieved when it come back as complete.
Now, we have 4.
We applied for 4 grants for that project. We've been accepted for 3.
3.
And
The ship grant
the
is the
ship
last
grant,
one.
the ship grant is the last one that we're waiting on. And I've been told by Dan Stewart from Maine DOT that they want to do the project. So we're waiting to hear the outcome.
You know, make it official so you get that check in
That's
hand.
right.
Well, that's it, and that's really what's holding everything up is, that 4th check is the big one, and it's for half the project. The other 3 grants that we received were all going to be applied as matching funds, so the town doesn't have to. The Lubec RLF made a donation to come up with the funds for the town,
Thank you, RLF.
Yeah.
a little over $2,800.
And we have discussed this at Harbor Board, but we can pick back up on that during the committee update,
Yeah.
if you like, or
Basically, just an update on the project. It's going to be an 80-foot gangway off the former Lubec Marina office going down into a seasonal floating dock. We're looking to increase our water access. Part of it is going to be for transient boaters. The ferry, the passenger vessels, we're starting to see an increase. We've had talks with the Friars Bay Development Corp about bringing cruise ships into Campobello and then using water taxis in the whole area as part of the destination. So, I mean, it's going to be, I think, an important piece of infrastructure for us.
Yep. Wow.
The CDBG grant request for the public facilities for 2014 was sent out. they've already contacted, asked for some information verifying our DUNS number, so I think that is good. The public facilities grant, in the past, the priority was given to commercial piers and firehouses. Usually your town garage and sand salt shed got a very low priority. This year, the priority is given to alleviating a health threat.
Yeah.
And we've got documentation that we do have a health threat with the municipal sand pile.
Yep.
Did you get that from them? Did you have it, hear any information from them? From the apartments?
Yes.
Good.
We received another letter from one of the owners of the apartments,
Bob Hutchinson? Yes.
Bob
Yep.
Hutchinson,
Good.
asking us, reminding us that they do have an issue down there,
Mhm.
and, they want to know what we're going to do to resolve it.
It was a very diplomatic letter.
Yeah.
He's very diplomatic person.
But at the same time, he did mention that there is a problem and it's been there for some time.
Yeah.
So, if we are successful in getting a public facilities grant, I think that's really
Good.
going to
Yeah.
help move that
I
project
think
forward.
that's good.
Peter Coughlin visit Lubec. He is with Maine DOT. He is the gentleman that the state of Maine would go to when they want to build a sand salt shed. Very knowledgeable. This is the second time he sat down with the committee. He helped us last year. He actually helped the committee get the foot off the ground. I mean, nobody had a lot of information on building a sand salt shed, and he came in with a wealth of it. This is what works for the state. These are some designs that do not work. These are the reasons why. So he had a chance to sit down and meet the new committee members. We've got some members that weren't able to benefit from his experience. So they had a chance to sit down and talk with him, pick his brain a little bit. And, I think the committee, we had a meeting last night, and they are refocused on doing what they got to do, getting the costs down. Looking for areas to bring some revenue in and see if we can put together a project that the town and the voters can support.
Good. Get some new energy in it. Now, Peter was not at the meeting last night.
No.
He was at one earlier. No, he
The
did not.
second.
Yes. And part of a new conversation that he went into was about the traditional means of keeping the roads open is salt and sand. And he also wanted us to consider other means which other communities have used. And I know everyone gets nervous when they hear about the sodium, calcium that they used to put on the roads. Well, that's been changed, and basically all it is 23% solution of salt. But if it's used at the right time, it can save a town money in what they would normally put out for sand and salt. Although, it's advised that if you do both, you need to keep the large tank that has your salt brine in it indoors, but not necessarily in a heated building. So, where we thought maybe we can reduce the size of the salt sand pile, which has been established by state guidelines for how many yards of sand is put down per mile of road, we really can't reduce it. But it would reduce our cost each year of what we're buying for that. So, of course, one of our committee members wanted to know why we just couldn't pump salt seawater. Well, it's a good start, you know?
Good thought.
We might try it.
Good thought. Okay, new business.
One of the things I wanted to talk to the select board about is town acquired property. You got a list of the properties that we have in your packets. I'd like to have the selectmen, if they get a chance to review them. I'd like to discuss with the selectmen, perhaps putting them out this spring. We'll have, typically you get your summer people back, and, more people are looking forward, and they're looking at projects, they're looking at doing things. We've had one property that we put out to bid before, we've never received a bid on it. And I mean, you don't have to put all the properties out. You may want to pick and choose. But I mean, I just wanted to give this list to the selectmen, have them take a look at it. We are going to have a foreclosure date coming up in April. You may want to wait until then and put them all out at once.
that everyone review these
Yeah.
and that we invite Jim Clark to come to our next
Yeah.
meeting and we talk about these
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
and the possible dates for putting it out to bid. Because if you're gonna put this many, it's gonna be quite a lot of work for these people in the office.
Yeah.
All the stuff they have to get together.
And yet everything will come April.
That's correct.
So we might as well wait. We hope not, but.
Right,
But
and I'd
fortunately,
like,
that is the date.
I'd like Jim's input
Mhm.
on process too.
I think the other thing that can help with this as well is the whole, Randy to find out the exact cost of what that sign up for.
Good, we've just given you an assignment.
I said Randy.
Can you talk to
what you
Randy?
wish for.
Is it driving range?
Yeah.
For Randy.
Yeah, I know.
That will help you guys make a
Yeah.
decision too.
Right, good idea. So will you put that on the agenda for the next?
For the next meeting, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah?
Okay.
Sarah is our representative to the Washington County Council of Government.
Why the increase? Okay, that's important.
You want one?
Now it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
So these are the towns that utilize.
Don't want to do that.
I
Is that it?
I'm thinking that very
I've
good.
got these, I've got this one.
Yeah, I have more that breaks it down that you can look at later.
Okay.
Basically, for the last few years, quite a few years, the Council of Government has not been making any money. They're losing money to do their services. In these charts, you can see it breaks down how much we pay compared to what other council of governments pay. Of course, the members are from all the towns, and none of us want to increase our taxes, but we can't function with not enough money. So they threw around population-based tax assessment base. Of course, I do not agree that we would like to see that happen. So if you look at,
Is this what they're asking for right now?
They're asking this per person, Sarah?
So
Is
it's
that
like a,
correct?
it's like a head count stipend?
we decided that it would be based on population. There would be a base rate and then based on population. So here's using the 2010 population. Currently, you can see each town and how much they pay. And then what we would like to see for 2014. So
So that's what they're actually
Lubec
measuring.
would go from $500 to $772.
72.
Right.
And then the following year, 908, and then 1,108. Because we didn't want to increase it all at once, we wanted to break it down, so that it would be a little more reasonable. And you can still see that compared to the other council of governments, which provide the same services, our rates do not even compare for what they're charged. A couple of the other sheets breaks down a little better, more detail, why the increase, what we get for our dues. There's a sheet of what they did in last year. If anyone has any questions, I can try to answer them, or we'll definitely get the answers.
I have a question. this, in natural resources and land use, the last, or the middle bulleted one, work with towns surrounding Coptic Bay on regional shellfish management options for joint ordinances, interlocal agreements, and shared enforcement. Well, what I wanna know is, our shellfish committee will be considering in this upcoming meeting on the 27th, what we can do about the green crab problem. And ultimately, where it's going is we're gonna need a boat and a motor and some traps. Otherwise, we're gonna have the same problem that the down coast communities have had, that they didn't do anything soon enough and now they have no plans. So, we're trying to do something, but it's not being met with any incentive as far as a market for these things. We really have to do something now, even if it means all we're doing is turning them into compost, which is part of the requirement of the municipal exemption permit. Now, if they could help, I'd like to talk to them and see what they can do, because we need help. We're a small town, we can't just say, oh, we're gonna go buy a boat. Where's that money coming from? How are we gonna do this? And it's not just our town, the whole Cobb's community will be suffering from the same thing, because my understanding is the crabs up in the river were sicker than the ones along the coast here, so it's gonna affect this entire region.
I would definitely give them a call, and then they could also help if we're seriously looking for a boat and equipment, if there are funds available to help with that.
Well, Sarah, where this is an unorganized territory, why would that have an effect on us? Does the state itself pay for the unorganized townships and all this management stuff in that particular department, or does the town of Lubec have to give a certain amount of funding to help the unorganized townships?
In what way?
Where's the UTs? Where do you see UTs?
Well,
Okay,
territory, right, under what we were just looking at here. And the way it reads out, they bring the shellfish management options, zoning ordinances. I thought that was something that was strict for its unorganized township, that's all done and paid for by the state.
See, I read worked with towns surrounding Coptic
Right.
Bay, I
But
figured,
just
well, we
before-
surround Coptic, okay, we're good.
But
Okay.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
As far
yeah.
as they have their own wardens, they had their own managements and so forth
Right.
that way. And that was all funded and stuff by the state. So we wouldn't come in on something like that to put money towards that in town, though, would we?
Well, it would depend on what kind of agreement and what was being entered in. I mean, if this issue needs to be dealt with Lubec teaming up with Pembroke, Eastport, and everybody around the bay, including UT, I'm sure
Well, the way,
everyone would work together.
Well,
And
Well, this is a glimmer of hope
the way,
on that situation, because it looks like it may be a way to start a conversation, a dialogue with the surrounding communities, which will all suffer the same fate if we do nothing.
well, no, the mean anything we're doing nothing. I mean, I'm just looking at it financial wise, that any of the unorganized was always taken care of by the state and towns themselves, and anything that had to do with unorganized departments in the past, I was aware of anything, they kind of looked at these towns and whatever towns are coming up and agreeing with. The unorganized township areas was going along with the towns to stay in step with. And I'm just looking at the money side of the thing.
Well, I think what she's saying here, Jimmy, and it might not be correct, what she's saying is that they were helping the UT with their projects as well as helping towns.
Oh, okay.
And,
Well, I'm wondering what the
Right,
cost would be raising and what
Right.
that money would be going for.
right.
And into what? You
No,
see,
I
because there's
think
so
it's-
many things that the money goes into.
It's like when we had a project to redo our comprehensive plan, the Washington County Council of Governments was very helpful. And I think they have helped in other projects that involve the UT as well.
Taxes as well, yeah.
Well, this is not to do with the county. This is a separate organization. This has nothing to do with the county.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
this is the County Council of Governments. It's kind of a separate entity that's that runs on its own. It has really nothing to do with a particular county or town or, it's kind of like
It's a
her Washington
quasi-municipal.
one. Yeah,
And each town, each community has representation.
right,
Yeah, you're,
So-
okay, yeah, okay, I
right.
see.
So it's not county.
Yeah,
It's
okay, yeah, I had
countywide
a
as in
problem.
it represents our entire county
Right.
membership, but.
Okay, all right,
This list is just the projects that they work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just some of the projects.
So when are our dues due?
The letters will go out in the next month or two. Three.
We always bring it up at one of the budget meetings.
I was gonna say, I think we did last budget
Yeah.
cycle.
And each town has a different time when they have their meetings, so.
Right.
it
We
kinda-
can host one here.
I personally do not think that the amount that they're asking for is out of line.
I don't even.
I don't either.
What they do. I've worked
I
with
see that they're
them.
gonna wind up doing more, so.
Yeah, I worked
I
with
think
them
hopefully.
before.
Yeah.
They
I
do
think
a
it's
good
reasonable.
job.
I think it's fine.
I mean, if I can just have, kind of take back the blessing to them to say, we're on board.
Yeah.
Right. We need a motion.
Yes, I would say.
I make a motion that we approve the membership dues for the town of Lubec to the Washington County Council of Governments for the upcoming 2014 year to the amount of $772.
second.
And that we mention and prepare for budgeting for the successive years during our budget cycle.
And mention whatever they can do.
Yeah, and of course, well, don't worry, I won't forget that.
We're not,
When
And
we
these-
know you're not gonna let it.
that amount might not be exact. when we
I'll
get
go
the
to get
paperwork,
next year.
but
If we pass the motion.
All right, we're cutting him off again.
I need a second.
Second.
And if you guys have any questions, we meet every couple months. Judy's pretty accessible all the time. You know, grants especially. The climate meetings that were held, I think are pretty beneficial. And there's more things in the works.
Good.
All right, we need
How's
a
our
second.
alternate doing?
Nope.
Oh, Joanne second?
Yeah.
All in favor? Okay, now you can ask your question.
How's our alternate? Is he attending?
He has not attended, I keep him informed.
Okay. Lean on him, tell him he's got to attend at least once in a while.
I'm glad Sarah's doing this.
Thank you, Sarah.
Because
Thank
she's doing a
you.
good job, and I'll tell you what, and I'll be honest, I was the board's appointee way back when, and I didn't make one meeting. So I'll be honest, I'm glad you're doing a good job.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yes.
It's good information I sent
It
out.
is, it is, and it's helpful.
I forward all the emails with different updates and things.
They have a lot of help, they do a lot of things.
It's good to network with all the towns at the meetings to know what's going on in town.
It is.
If there's anything we need to work together on, like possibly these pesky rats.
Well, yeah, and sometimes you can just simply say, we have this problem, does anyone else have that? You can say, yeah, we have a similar, this is what we've done,
This is some useful stuff.
you know.
Okay.
Good. Okay.
We had the gentlemen from the Bureau of Labor here today. Back in November, they came through. They reviewed our policies, they reviewed our work habits and our facilities. And we had a couple citations. Basically, the citations that we received were on lack of policies. They went down, they took a look. Ricky and the boys were working on one of the plow trucks, and they had everything done by the book. But they did not have a written policy dedicated to that one specific truck. So we had to go through, and each piece of equipment now has its own policy, whether it's wastewater, whether it's public works. What we're looking at right now is we need to update our confined space policy and our bloodborne pathogen policy. We approved 4 policies at the previous selectmen's meeting. These are the final 2 that we need. I had a conversation with him after the inspection. He went through each citation that we received, our documentation for how we mitigated. He seemed really comfortable with it. During the course that he was here, he also went through, inspected the facilities again. Had a chance to talk to Bobby Hood out in the fire bay. We went down to Public Works. We went down to the wastewater and the recycling. He seemed like we were in pretty good shape. We have one more training for the fire department on January 28th. They've got 3 things that they need to work on. And other than that, we'll have everything we need to send in. We've made an appointment with the state that the fines that we receive, we want to talk about it. And Sam said that if we turn in the material that we have today, he seems that we're going to be in pretty good shape.
I came up here today to pick up my agenda and some other things, and Sam was here, and I got a chance to talk to him. He was quite impressed that for a town of our size, and for the number of employees that we had so few violations. I have to say that he was, and I was very impressed with both Tabitha and Bobby, and all the stuff that they had put together in a very short time. Most of the stuff they had, a few things they were doing the last minute scramble, but again, it's a volunteer department. You know, you have to think these people have other jobs, they have other responsibilities.
That's right.
John did an excellent job on our side, and again, same thing, he has other jobs, other responsibilities. And as I said, Sam was very impressed.
Wow, excellent. I want to thank everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
It's a busy season to begin with, and on top of that, everybody found the time to make all this happen. and-
right, and I mean, we couldn't have done it without the staff. I mean, the staff really pulled together. You know, we took Renee off the front counter. Betty went up to the front counter. In addition to her duties, Debbie really held the fort for us, and that allowed us to do what we had to do. So, I mean, it was really a team effort. We created books for Public Works, recycling, wastewater that had all the policies in it, everything that the state wanted to see. And he did go down and take a look at them, and he was quite pleased when we were done.
Well,
So he recommended that we take the books to the meeting to show them what we have. One of the concerns I had, the sander rack at Public Works had to be load rated by a certified engineer. The shelf down to recycling had to be load rated by a certified engineer. We went down, took all the measurements, found an engineer. We have them load rated. We sent out to white signs out of Orono. We're gonna have steel signs up on the sander rack and on the shelving. They weren't here when Sam was here. As soon as he left, UPS brought them down. So we're gonna get them up, take pictures, and we're gonna take each violation, and we're gonna take photographs. We're gonna take invoices, receipts for the stuff that we bought to mitigate any concerns they have, and we're gonna put together a package. He did say that it's possible that they have other communities in Washington County. They may, instead of us going to Augusta, he may come up to somewhere in Washington County, perhaps the Career Center, and meet us over there. So that was it.
Oh, excellent, that's good.
And
But
one
I
of the
mean-
violations that they had was they hadn't turned over these policies every year and said, yes, I've read it and it doesn't need any changes, and signed and dated. Now, who would know that you had to do that?
oh, Lord.
You know,
I think they're pretty picky myself.
Yeah,
well, along with being picky, it's good
it
that,
is good.
and I don't think this office and our employees worked as a team, and we couldn't have pulled this off
No.
with one less employee. So for the naysayers out there that think this operation can be run by one person, I'm sorry, folks, we would have wound up paying a hefty fine because we couldn't have come together to get this the way it's supposed to be within the time frame
Right.
to be considered that we're trying. So we are trying.
And, you know, the lockout tagout for the specific piece of equipment, whether it was a chipper, whether it was a backhoe, a pickup, I mean, all those policies had to be started from scratch. When Robert King came through and he gave us the citations, he also opened up a whole wealth of resources. I mean, it wasn't just coming through and say, have this, have this, have this, you know, write a citation, write a citation. He gave us access to the of Labor website. He sent up a bunch of plans and stuff, a lot of templates that we could use and make our own. So I mean, he worked with us as well, and Sam today has been a big help.
Well,
Thank you.
They've answered questions, they've, pointed us in the right direction when we needed a little bit of guidance.
good.
Renee did a great job, like I said, Betty pulled double duty.
Yep.
Debbie held it forward, I mean, without her, taking care of the people coming in and doing the day-to-day, we couldn't have done it. And Randy, I don't know how many times I've pestered him. So, I mean, it was a team effort. And, Public Works, we've had trainings with Public Works, with recycling, wastewater, everybody worked together. The staff meeting this week, they were fit tested for respirators. Something we had to have, documentation we had to have. Everybody, like I said, they pulled together and it looked like they were in pretty good shape.
Good, wonderful.
So, that being said,
These policies, again,
need to be approved.
motioned in, and we all understand that they will be updated as necessary when situations change on an annual basis.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I will make a motion on one of them to accept the confined space entry program draft as our policy for confined spaces.
Second.
All in favor?
Make a motion to approve the bloodborne pathogen standards.
Second.
All in favor? Again, thank you to everyone,
Yes.
including the person who started this ball rolling.
I mean, really, the bottom line is, if our facilities are safer, the employees had a chance to go down, go through the policies, and I really think for them it was an eye-opening experience. A lot of times I've heard, we're way back at the end of the road and Department of Labor doesn't come here. Well, yeah, they do. And,